is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 291. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E, sitting here on a Sunday, beautiful Austin, Texas, coming off a late, disappointing loss up there in the Rocky Mountains against Real Salt Lake. How you feeling, my friend?
I think disappointing is a solid word. I'm definitely disappointed, bummed about that game, but more so bummed about the fact that this team just isn't healthy right now, and it's impacting everything that we're trying to do out there, and it sucks because I want to see this team healthy because I still believe in this team right now. We got to find a way to get our best players out there and healthy and back. And it's just been really frustrating. Well, the game last night was a frustrating one for sure.
Yeah. Well, of course, we'll go through everything that happened out there in Utah. Got a couple other pieces of news to touch on as well before we get into the rest of episode 291. Just want to remind you all, as we always do, you can support the show financially for free just by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. So toggle on auto downloads, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get those pods. That'll support the show going forward, and you won't have to think about it again. You can go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get those pods. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, hitting that subscribe button does help us grow the show. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 291, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. So coming into the weekend, and we had a very lovely Friday evening out there in the hill country as we saw the Bartletts. Congrats to Logan and Maggie. So we're drinking out of the Bartlett koozie here today. Cheers, cheers, cheers. That was a blast, seeing those two obviously on their big day. Paul and Kate, Lojo and Krissa, right? Seeing Jesse out there. Bust a move on the dance floor, a couple beers, little taco bar. Great wedding.
Come on now. That's a good time right there. Huge congrats. I had a wonderful time. It was a beautiful ceremony. Beautiful weather out there too.
Oh yeah.
Place was way out there. I will say that, Lo. Was I had to ask the Cabo Bob's driver if I was in the right spot. I was like, dude, is there a wedding going on back here? Man, I'm just like in the fucking woods.
Yeah, dude. And we were walking in and I was like, holy shit, this is a death trap for me because it's all cedar trees out there. So luckily I maintained. But,
that was a great time. It was a great time.
Yeah,
congrats,
absolutely. And we got some, what I think is good news, right? Because I was bitch moaning and complaining when that Leagues Cup schedule came out about that FC Dallas home match being 48 hours after the Club America fixture. So due to that fixture congestion, the league announced this week that regular season match between Austin and Dallas at Q2 Stadium has been pushed back a day from Saturday, August 15th to Sunday, the 16th. And with kickoff remaining at 7:30 Central, that means that this match is now the Sunday Night Soccer featured match on Apple TV. So look, whooping Frisco's butt on national television, the solo game on Sunday night primetime. I love it.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Good on you, league.
So coming into Saturday, right, where we left off on Wednesday's preview episode was with multiple question marks about the injury report, right? Mikel Dedler, Jaden Nelson and his hamstring, Bobby T, and then some of those guys that we think who are going to be out longer, including Danny Pereira, right after that hamstring injury forced him out early against Charlotte. So Coach did give us an extensive injury report on Thursday to begin the media availability session. And some of you, I'm sure, saw the video that we put out shortly after that press conference with Coach, kind of giving the rundown. So if you missed that, some of the news that came from that, Danny is at least a month out, according to Coach, with that hamstring injury. So again, dude, best case scenario, okay, 4 weeks. We would take that. Like I said last week after the Charlotte match, I think 6 to 8 is where this is going to fall. And just the way things have been going, probably safer to lean towards that 8-week number. But at least it wasn't worse than that. I guess it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could have been. Sucks, dude. Again,
Yeah.
he had been playing really well. I liked what I was seeing from him, and for him to come up lame with this, man, and now you're looking at this timeline on top of all the other shit that's going on or has been going on with this team in regards to injuries, man, and they're just stacking up. And we're chatting before we jump on here, right? And you have all the ingredients right now. The oven's a little preheated for this to be a season where you're just hurt the whole fucking year. And like
Yeah. Oh
all
yeah.
is happening right now, it's swirling. And like, I don't want to, put that out there per se, but it's just you have the ingredients for that to go that way this year.
Yeah, I think what I said to you before we recorded was the anatomy of a season where you're just completely fucked by the injury report throughout is well underway.
Yep.
But not, I think if a season like this is going to happen, dude, no better time than this season in the sense of we have an 8-week break coming up at the end of May.
Yep.
So like that break is going to help us in more ways than one, not just being able to shuffle some spots on this roster, but also to get fully healthy then. But like shit, man, we got 14 total. We got 10 more games before that break, and how we're going to survive that is certainly a conversation that's going to be ongoing as well. And this was, I think, maybe the worst news out of for me and the way I'm interpreting coach's comments, because he said Brandon Vasquez is, quote, a little bit more like April. We'll start seeing if he's training with the team and everything, which to me, dude, like we heard Brandon say he needs a full month of practice with the team to be cleared. It's March 15th.
Yep.
If he's not already in that process, he's just out for Miami. And like, again, there can be plenty of things lost in translation from a guy like Nico Estevez, who, right, English is his second language, maybe his third. I'm not sure just exactly how cultured Nico is. It's certainly way more than me, and there can be some things lost in translation with me trying to pick up on some of the things he's saying. But I certainly took this as Brandon is out for Miami, and into April is when we are going to hopefully see him make his debut.
And I mean, we need him back so badly.
Yeah.
It is a very, very real thing. We'll get into it more during the game and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, that's another bummer. And that's how I took it as well. This is going to be an extended period of time here.
So 2 other updates. He said on Wolf, Owen is progressing really well. He had a good week. And if he has another good week and next week, then we'll probably be ready for him to come back after the FIFA window, right? So that would be a bench appearance against Miami if that timeline holds, right? And Robert Taylor, quote, is progressing also well, and I think he will be with the team next week if everything goes well. So look, getting Bobby T back on the bench for LAFC would be a boost, and like we need anything like that that we can get at this point.
Absolutely, man. Would love to get Bobby T back next week.
So we had a pair of listener questions here I think we should address before we get to recapping last night's match. And the first one was from our buddy Dave Smith, who said, can you help us understand why Owen's recovery has taken so long? Was it a misdiagnosis by the club? Was it just discovered at the preseason physical that he'd ultimately needed surgery? Was no staff working with Owen this offseason to monitor his recovery? I'm so confused and concerned. And like, we're with you, man. Like, from what we can tell from the outside looking in, right? The offseason, like, because you can recover from a sports hernia with rest and recuperation and recovery, right? That kind of physical therapy, then some prehab afterwards to strengthen the area. But that's just, it did not heal like that. And we don't know how often Owen either did check in with our training staff or was required to in the off season, but clearly it was just discovered upon that returning physical in January that it had not healed to the point where they could just roll him out there. He needed the procedure. But I do want to draw attention to what our friend and Section 123 Companion E, Mr. Mighty Frog, right, said in the comments on Wednesday's episode. And what the Mighty Frog said was, my sister-in-law's boss was at a charity event and Owen was there. They chatted and Wolf said he re-aggravated his injury and would be out another 2 to 3 weeks. Now that lines up with the new-ish timeline that we just got from Nico. And so like, I think that is a very likely explanation for this extended absence, way beyond the initial timeline that the club gave, which the initial timeline the club gave was within like most, if you're playing internet doctor, like most timelines, that's on the shorter side of timelines, but well within that range. So I think you and I both expected him back by the second regular season match at worst, given the club said mid to late February, full recovery. Yep. To me, dude, that full recovery means you are either ready to play or like a week of practice away from being active.
Absolutely.
And so like, I'm not shocked to see that Owen has, reportedly through this rumor told somebody, I had a little bit of a setback and I'll be ready in a couple weeks. Which is fine, but it leads into the second question, Ian. I promise I will let you interject here and give some of your thoughts in a moment, because Ari's asked me directly. He said, Zach, on a pod a few weeks ago, you mentioned that you wouldn't be concerned with Owen's injury as long as he comes back before Brandon Vasquez. With the news we got this week, what's your level of concern from 1 to 10 now? So Ari's, my concern level would be at a 5 from 1 to 10. And because, again, I think it's very plausible that what the Mighty Frog said here is true, that he had a setback. And that's going to cause me to be concerned about the pain continuing throughout the season, right? That he didn't go through his first 6 to 8 weeks and get 100% better. But no higher than a 5 as long as he's available off the bench against Miami, because I think it's crisis averted for the time being if he's back in 2.5 weeks or whatever that is. I guess it's 3 at this point with that international break in between. But I think right now, after what Coach said, like, and what we saw last night, so maybe recency bias a little bit here, I'm slightly more concerned about Brandon Vasquez not being ready for Miami, and like, how long is that gonna go?
Yeah.
Because that is also again, like, I don't think we are at a crisis point this early in the season. We just passed the 10% mark of the season. So what are your thoughts on those questions from Dave and Ari's? Because again, it's not the best updates we could get, but again, for me, things are not, the sky is not falling.
Yeah, I got you. For the initial diagnosis and stuff, I don't think the team was trying to be like misleading in any way. I did think that time frame initially was a little quick because he was having surgery. You know what I mean? They cut your body open. So it was like, it might be out a little longer than that. But to me, it seems like with this stuff lining up that something happened. I can't remember exactly what Nico said. But I think it was along the lines of, he's been experiencing some discomfort after some trainings. You remember him saying this a little bit a couple weeks ago, I believe?
Yeah, and I also think we heard from, I want to say it was maybe the Cragnolas, but somebody who was out there at Coachella during the preseason overheard like a little bit of eavesdropping again. So it maybe wasn't the Cragnolas. I don't remember. I just know they were out there. Maybe it was Jesse. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
But Owen, I think, talking to Greg Berhalter and saying like somebody overhearing, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm still having some pain, with the injury.
Word.
Dude, it could be multiple setbacks, like, for all we know at this point.
Yeah. So, I would probably put myself at a 6 on the concern scale for that. I do think he's going to be back before BV. That BV update does not sound great to me either. But I do think Owen will be back before BV. But I am concerned because I've been concerned about the next 3 games for 2 weeks now, looking at this point of the schedule and like watching what happened last night and just seeing how desperately we need to get healthy, man. And like, it's becoming an issue. And as we talked about just moments ago of, the anatomy of this going really wrong is happening right now. So I'm at a 6 with that.
Well, I think too, like, I'm totally fine if these guys got to wait 2-3 more weeks from even where we are now, from when we expect them back, as long as that is going to ensure that they are healthy, that these injuries are not nagging throughout the rest of the season. That is of paramount importance because of how long the season is, and the season being even longer in 2025 compared to your average season because of the World Cup.
Yep.
So I guess, and Coach wasn't completely done. He also mentioned, right, like kind of turning his attention to Salt Lake. Like, what are we going to do with no Danny and all of these other guys not coming back? He mentioned that Mateja Djordjevic has played right back in his previous teams at times. So apparently that's something in Georgie's bag there that we were not familiar with. I see your face. I made it too when I heard that. But look, I'll try. I'm not familiar with his past exploits. He also mentioned Irvin in there with Duber, Sarsky, and Sabovic in terms of midfield options. Now, we did not see Irvin ultimately last night, but especially with what I said on Wednesday and what I would like to see as a fan, that did catch my attention. And just for good measure, he did also call Riley Thomas Riley again, which is no less than the third time he's done that publicly. So, dude, some of us just have, mental blocks with things like that. And that appears to be one for Coach.
Hey, look, I got it too, man. That's my favorite Austin FC player of all time.
Yeah, true. Just calling him Seva. So we did get the call up that we were somewhat expecting there on Friday. Jorge Alastue signed to his first short-term agreement of the season, so he was available for selection last night. And we can just talk about this right now, I think. Jorge does come into this match, so we now, of course, have 3 more short-term agreements we can sign him to, but only 1 more appearance is he allowed to make before we would have to sign him to a supplemental deal. So burning that last night, dude, just gets you that much closer to either you can no longer use Jorge on those call-ups, or you have to sign him and use that international roster slot, which, like, the way the roster is right now, knowing we have 2 slots coming back at the beginning of the summer transfer window and potential for somebody else on that list to get a green card, I don't think it's crazy to give Jorge that supplemental slot on like a 1+1, right? So like if we need the slot going into next season, we can make that adjustment. But we'll see, man. Like, getting a couple guys back into the team, like a Bobby T, obviously Miko Dessler. Because, dude, last night we left a bench spot open.
Yep.
Like, we're not even bringing Micah with us. And, like, I'm not shocked by that because Micah Burton's not starting for the second team right now. He may tonight, right? We're recording Sunday afternoon. But, again, yeah, man, like, it's just gone from not ideal to legit bad in terms of our availability. And it's not a hot take, of course. Everybody knows that.
I mean, it's a bummer that we don't have some sort of like Swedish midfielder, that we could play over pulling up a guy from the next pro league in order to get him in. That's a real bummer that we don't have a guy like that,
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, so like I mentioned, Dessler was in the team off the bench. And I will, before we get into this one, dude, just one more. Shout out to Bayless, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Who I met just at a gas station down in South Austin yesterday, a couple hours before the match, heading in to grab some beers. And Zach like turned around, had a great conversation. So it was great to meet you, my friend. And of course, we appreciate the support. That's, identified in the wild, E.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't even have apparently you and we did not text each other before the episode. Both wearing the Sicko shirts here today. I guess this is just kind of like my Linus safety blanket after we lose a game like that. It's like, let me just put on my Sicko shirt, feel good about myself. So Dessler was in the team starting lineup. E 4-back could have been just listing these guys off. You could have said, oh, like maybe this is a 5-back with John Bell as your left center back, but it was not offensively, right? Kind of 4-2-3-1, the same look that we have seen to start this season. Brad in net across the back line, left to right. Bell, Heinzike, Fatak, Galley, Duber, and Ilie in front of them. And then Rosales still on the right, Nelson on the left, Facu centrally with Izuni up top. Anything you had to say about that lineup?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it from the rip. We were talking about it while we're watching the game or before the game and everything, and I thought it was too defensive. I know there's not a whole lot of options, right? I really do. I get that. I know there's not a whole lot of options, but you go Duber, Ilie midfield, and we talked about before this episode, it's not even just chance creation there. There was a giant gap from where we had those defensive mids at to trying to get the ball up to these attacking. You just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You could not do it. And that's part of the limitations that those two players have. They're at different stages of their career, but both of them, that's not their strong suit. And the fact that fucking Sabovic can't start over Nico Duber-Sarsky is insane. It just blows my mind that he can't win that job. And I don't know what I would be expecting out of him I might have, complained about that as well because he struggles with that shit too. But like, good Lord, man. So I thought this was too defensive. Obviously, you see the John Bell. I thought for sure you're going Komenich there. So I thought that, led to me feeling shitty about this lineup. And then obviously John Bell plays an incredible game. So I want to, like he was awesome, but I didn't like this lineup, man. And it signaled to me right away that we were going to be the team that was having the pace dictated to us by RSL. And we were going to be kind of at their mercy with the altitude and how they're going to play. And I didn't like that approach. Because again, I thought you have enough to go in there and win this game, especially when you're not going to get 70 out of Luna and Olatunji.
Right.
So like you have your two DP guys that are healthy right now. You got enough to do it.
Yeah, and I think like when it just comes to the decision between like Duber and Sabo, like I made it clear last episode, like I would have rather seen Irvin there because that would give me a better indication that we are going for this one. We're going to be aggressive when we have the ball and be able to progress that ball through the midfield or at least try. Yeah, because like when you put Duber and again, I think we should put Savovic in that same conversation because he has not been able to prove with any sort of consistency that he can progress the ball at his feet or with the pass. And that was what we were expecting out of him when that transfer was made, right? And watching those highlights. And I think I would rather ultimately, if it's between those two, I would rather play Duber because it's a much bigger investment in him. And by the rules, right? We can potentially, if he reaches his potential over the term of his contract here, that can be something that is very beneficial to both player and club down the road. So I don't think I was as upset about that as you, but having the same feelings, seeing it like, well, man, like it doesn't seem like we're trying anything fun here. Like we're going to roll out what we expected to see from Nico. And it was just kind of more of the same, right? Like, which isn't terrible. We know the spot you're in with the way this roster is right now in the injury report, but a little bit more creativity, again, from a fan perspective, not from a we're trying to win the game perspective, from a fan perspective, that would have made me a little bit more excited headed into the first whistle.
Yeah, man, I'm just more so upset about Savovic. And like, there's nothing I can point to that would have been like, yeah, he definitely should start over Duber here.
Yeah. Let's get into this one. And it was the first few moments of this match where I forget who was the announcing team last night, but they say that Xavier Gozo is the talk of the country.
Yeah.
And I think you said astutely, I think there's some other things going on right now. But look, the kid has been great, and he was electric last night in plenty of moments as well. And also, Brad Stuver tying Chris Klein for the second most consecutive starts in MLS history with 118. Now just second behind Luis Robles with 183, which means what? That's 65 games. So if this time in 2028, Brad Stuver could break that record.
Hell yeah.
And I'm knocking on all the wood in sight to make sure that happens. But regardless, that 118 mark, fantastic. And just another feather in the Stuver cap of why he has been, he is the statue right now if you're building one outside of the stadium.
Absolutely he is. And it's a testament to the way that he approaches all of this and the way he takes care of his body, stays prepared and ready to go, man. And he was fucking awesome last night. He really was. Yeah.
So we'll pick it up in the third minute here where Austin is building out of the back, and it's John Bell playing a long ball over the top towards Mirtu, trying to run in behind. And this was a good ball, and Azuni has the freshest legs he's going to at this point of the match. So that does force Justin Glad to nod it out over the inline for a corner. On that corner, Austin plays it short to Azuni, who then swings it up top to Joseph Rosales. He ushers it on to Jaden Nelson, and then he goes back to the left to try to play Mirtu Azuni through because Mirtu had darted into the box. But the timing is off there. And I think the timing is off on Mirtu's end, man. Like, he was running like he's trying to stay onside. And I don't understand that because there's defenders in his line of sight that give him another half yard at least. And he's just not he has no momentum going towards the end line when this pass is made. I thought he had the space, both laterally and vertically, to start taking himself towards that ball, and he just doesn't. I think he can do better. Well, I think he should do better there. I don't know if he can do better there.
Fuck, man, that might be the right way to approach it at this point. Yeah, This is the first time that I scream during this game because
Yeah.
I'm like, why is he not running towards
Yeah.
the goal, making this run that is wide open? And because in my mind, that was the play. You go
Yeah.
short to get
It
this
was a
set
good
up.
set too.
It was a beautiful set. And then just at the last moment, he's running more so parallel than he is towards the net. And the timing's just completely off. And it's just been the fucking his story here thus far, as it's just been off and it's looked wrong and weird.
So we'll jump ahead.
Also, stop telling me this man is 5'10". Whoever approaches me again and tells me this man is 5'10", I am gonna have a problem with you. I'm looking at it right now on Fat Mob. He is not fucking 5'10". He's not.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. 18th minute here is Justin Glad grabbing Jaden Nelson after I thought Jaden did pretty well here to use his body, shield the ball over on that far sideline from the broadcast camera.
Mm-hmm.
So Jaden also sells a little bit, earns the foul. So Facu stands over this free kick. We're 10, 12 yards above the 18, I think, over there on that left sideline. So Facu delivers this ball back post where John Bell rises up to nod it back towards the far post, bounces once, trickles in. Great ball. Solid header. We'll take it, man. And look, I will submit this just to Swoon Tower because they do the goal celly ratings. For me, this is a Manu Ginobili out of 10 because he gives the Euro step celly. We're loving the basketball celebration there from John Bell. This one gets checked for a possible offside on hindsight, potentially impeding Cabral there. But the goal is given, and I think rightfully so. I had no issue with the check, but once you saw the replay, man, Cabral had plenty of time to see where this ball was going and get there, and it was just a well-placed header by John Bell.
It was a great header by John Bell. What a game from him last night. This service from Facu has been fantastic all season long, and they talked about it a little bit on the broadcast there where it was like when he was in Orlando, he wasn't necessarily known for these set pieces, but almost everything he's put out there in this young season has looked really good. This is a great ball. You got yourself into a nice spot to get a dangerous set piece. We've looked good on set pieces this year.
Yeah.
Many times this team has looked good on set pieces, and you're on the board here 1-0, and we're feeling good, obviously. And then, you look at the way the rest of this game kind of goes and plays out, and this early goal almost feels like a blessing and a kind of curse here because the team gets a little complacent, and not that we were firing on all cylinders early in this matchup, but you did see that long ball over the top, the nice set piece to potentially get Mirtu into some action. That was generating some stuff a little bit for this team. And then you get this goal here, and you just kind of feel a little bit complacent, and it switches a little bit. And in my opinion, particularly when Diego Luna and Victor Olatunji are coming off the bench, you can't really take the foot off the gas here that much. And I think we might have fallen into that trap.
Well, I also think, especially because I went to Professor Okwa's class this morning and talking tactics and things like that, like some of these things that we'll talk about after the match that I picked up from Logan, I think are probably pretty elementary to your normal soccer fans. But to the soccer novices like us, I found it to be an interesting and somewhat enlightening conversation. I think there were some structural issues that just showed themselves as the game went on, and we continued to not adjust to some of those disadvantages that were out there because of the way we were set up. But it was also just kind of a bang play right back at you here in the 24th minute because Salt Lake's in possession. Like there's not a ton of time to shift the momentum here before this happens because RSL's working this ball pretty methodically from right to left. It was Kaliskin. I always struggle with his name. Kaliskin plays a 1-2 with Sanabria on that left side into the 18. And he gets near the inline and plays the ball across the face of net where Alexander Svatok tries to clear it out over the inline, but deflects it into his own net, and we're level. And like there is certainly an aspect of bad luck there with the way the ball comes off of Svatok as he tries to intervene there. But I also think because the backline's not set, potentially because we are having to overload one way because of a disadvantage personnel-wise in the midfield, when they're changing these balls in the final third, dude, we are having to shift that back line so significantly that nobody is set and nobody has the I think what you would like to have in terms of like I'm gonna use a basketball term here, but like their field mapping instead of court mapping, like to know where you are on the field or in your own penalty area here. And I think some of that plays into Svatak and being a little bit out of position here, right?
Yeah.
Making that challenge while you are inside your own post is probably ill-advised.
Yeah, I mean it's funny, right? Because you look back to the Charlotte game, you have that initial Zaha ball where they don't really want to touch it, and they end up, obviously scoring on the back end of that. And then you have this situation where Sfati, and he does try to make this interception, and unfortunately blast right past Brad. But to your point about the structure and the way that it was looking, when we talked about this on the preview, I was like, you're gonna be in your shell drill kind of scramble defense against this team. And like, that's why I didn't like the pairing of Aduber Ilya initially to start. But again, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to fucking do there? I get it. This is super unfortunate, but this was part of RSL just continuously having Austin on the back foot, playing the balls forward into space, getting in behind the defense. Like, they were good last night, man. And that team's going to be fucking scary if they're healthy. Well, when they get healthy with both Luna and Olatunji back in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be solid, right? And we'll see what happens with them in the summer transfer window. Yep, maybe Gozo's sent out, maybe Luna, right? But back to the game, man, because this is where I 100% jump on board with you with the momentum shifting, because right after the goal, 26th minute, Salt Lake is right back on the front foot. It's Guy Lavogie dropping it off for Dylan about 22 yards out, and he has a crack with his right, and Stuver, full stretch, diving save here to push it out for a corner. Svatak clears the danger that time, but here's why I have it in the notes. Now the momentum has fully turned, and everybody in there wearing, I know you chuckled at this, the claret and cobalt in that stadium, all those fans are now very much into the game and sensing a second goal.
Yeah, and we could kind of sense it as well. Fortunately, the defense was able to hold as long as they did, but Gozo, man, and Guy Lavogie, man, they are good. And they were getting into space. Hezer Khani impressed me more than I thought he would. And they were giving us fits, man. And they were the better team last night. Period. The better team won the game last night. And they deserved 3.
Yeah. 30th minute, Gozo makes his way into the Austin 18-yard box from his right side. And as he gets a step into the area, the ball's taken off him. He goes down. Shouts for a pen, of course, echoing around the stadium. But on the replay, dude, it didn't look like much in the moment. On the replay, fantastic defense by John Bell, poking it out of there. A little bit of contact, but that's not a foul, man. It's certainly not a penalty.
No, absolutely not. And I thought John Bell last night was one of, obviously I don't think this is a hot take, one of the best performers out there.
Yeah.
I do think you got a ceiling performance out of him in this matchup, but
until we see it more, right?
Oh, for sure. But we talked about guys needing to step up in these situations and do that. And John Bell was ready to take on this job. He played great last night, and this was a great tackle.
I second that. 37th minute, Austin playing it around the back here, and with the Salt Lake pressure, they're forced to play it long again, and they lose the first ball after they boot it. So Salt Lake turns and sends this ball out left. Then they swing it all the way to the right to find Gozo with space, and he blasts a shot towards the near post that Stuver punches out for a corner. On that corner, Austin's able to clear it only as far as Sanabria, and RSL tries to kind of prod that right side of the defense again, but Mirtu able to step into the path of a wayward pass, and Guy Lavogie runs into Joseph Rosales trying to get the ball, and he goes down, and then somehow is mad at Rosales for the contact that he initiated. He gets up. Those two guys kind of gets in Joe's face, comes together. Joe gives him a small one-handed push, dude, get the fuck out of my face. And then Guy Lavogie two-hand shoves him, and Joe sells it. The yellow card is given to Guy Lavogie, rightfully, I think, because sometimes it's just the second guy that gets caught.
Yeah, absolutely. God, Rosales, man.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah, dude.
God.
He's
this
fucking
dude
good.
Is the real deal, man. You got a player from Mexico. This dude is a stud, man.
Yeah.
And, he's going to have a couple other highlights here. The rest of this matchup, we can kind of, glaze him a little more then, but man, he's been super impressive. Probably your best player so far, field player, from everything he's been able to do.
Especially when he's on the left.
Everywhere we moved around. Yeah. Going back to the left back, man, he's been fantastic all season long thus far. I'm so excited to see him, be in a more natural position and have some more weapons around him.
Yeah. So 41st minute here is a long note, because Austin, very rare bout of sustained possession in not just this first half, but in this game. Playing it around the back near midfield, and they work it right to left, where Jaden Nelson checks back from his wing spot and then plays a slick 1-2 with John Bell, who's streaking up that left side of the field. And as John gets near the end line at the edge of the 18, he squares it to Mirtu Izuni. And Mirtu's got his back to goal. It turns over his right shoulder, rips a left-footed shot. Decent shot. It's on frame. It forces a save from Rafa Cabral. And the rebound from that shot falls to Salt Lake, but they just clear it out with the one touch, and it's low. It hits Duber Sarski just inside that top of the box, and he doesn't control it, but the ball bounces off him and rolls into the path of Facu Torres, who takes one touch to settle it with his left before firing a shot that takes a slight deflection off a Salt Lake defender there, and Cabral's still able to adjust kind of midair and keeps it out with just his left hand. Again, I thought you saw the quality of Rafa Cabral on display last night, especially in this moment. And so, right, he keeps that ball out of the net, and the ball pops up into the air, so Austin stays with it. Duber Sarski tries a pretty futile shot here from 22 yards out. That one gets blocked up into the air again, which allows Torres to get back onto it. He tries to cross it. It's deflected out for a corner. We're about halfway through here, because Torres sends that corner in towards the back post. Salt Lake clears, but outside the 18, Joseph Rosales brings it down, and Austin works it right to left. Nice changing ball from Galley here over the top that nestles right into Facu's breadbasket there, so he brings it down, puts another cross in that's headed by Glad up into the air, where Ilie is able to volley it towards net from the top of the box, and then Quinton steps in to clear that attempt away. It comes right back to Facu. He crosses again towards the back post, where it almost finds the head of Svatok, but Salt Lake able to clear that out for another corner. Facu stands over this one. This service doesn't get over the defender, one of his more poor attempts so far through 4 games. But that RSL defender at the near post heads it to the top of the box, which allows Jaden to take a crack. That shot is turned back for a throw-in on the opposite side. That's taken by Rosales. And Austin keeps possession, but RSL ends up pushing them back into their own half. But everything I just described was Austin in possession of the ball from a Stuver free kick at 40 minutes and 48 seconds to finally losing the ball at 46 minutes and 40 seconds. And that is something that not only did you not see last night, but you just don't see that a ton historically for Austin FC. And that type of pressure with the kind of mash unit that we have out there compared to what we think we can be at full strength, if we ever get there, is what continues to give me hope that this team will be just fine if they can get to some semblance of healthy. Because even with the guys we have out there last night, this is pounding on the door of a goal, right? They do not convert. And I think some of it, good defense by RSL. Some of it, Rafa Cabral probably still leads the league in G-XG after last night.
Yep.
Maybe not, but you get what I'm saying. It was good defense, good offense there, and just a moment in the game, a sustained moment in this game where all of a sudden Austin had all the momentum. And dude, after this, it just completely evaporates the rest of the way. But that was a much longer stretch of the end of this first half than I remembered, where RSL had nothing through that almost 6 minutes.
Yeah, no, and it was like the one real sustained possession of that first half, and then also you're a ghost town in the second half here. It was awesome, and like you said, it switched the momentum. This is how powerful this little 6 minute, 5-6 minute stretch here is. It switched the entire momentum of that first half after RSL had gained it and really had a ton of pressure on our side of the field there. So this was nice to see, man. Obviously, heat of the moment, that ball comes to Facu's left foot. I'm feeling great about it, but Cabral is all the way over on that side of the net there. And I think Facu's got to pick his head up a little bit and try to go to the right side of this near post a little bit here where he's not standing. There was a kind of, scrum of RSL defenders and players in that, and the bodies kind of like in that area, which I get, man. But this was really great to see. And this was really your opportunity here to steal this game. I think looking back on it now, if you could have got this one right before half, then I would have been a little bit better shutting it down, in the second half.
Yeah.
But man, unfortunate. And then, like you said, some solid defense here by RSL. They withstood it, and they have been doing that all season. The possession numbers don't show to what they typically have for RSL, which is coming in at like high 30s. But that defense has been kind of a bend, don't break defense. And then you have Cabral in the back with some good shot stopping stuff, man. So it was unfortunate, but a good way to close out this half.
When you mentioned the Facu shot, right? Like, and Cabral, dude, if that doesn't get deflected, the shot, I think Cabral just catches that.
Yeah, it goes right to him.
Because he just knew, and like you said, like I'm not sure if the way the defender in front of Facu was positioning himself that he could not kind of bend that towards the right side of the target, but I agree with you on that, at least in the moment sitting on our couch. It was the second minute of stoppage time where RSL finally gains back possession here, and Sanabria heads the ball forward that floats just over Ilie to the foot of Solans, who puts pressure on the back line that kind of condenses the center backs and John Bell towards that near post on the right. So they repel that attack by Solans, but RSL keeps the ball. He drops it out to Gozo. Gozo lofts one back post, dude, over John Gallagher's head to Morgan Gilavogi, who nods it on frame with power, and Stuver denies him out for a corner. RSL knocks that corner out for a goal kick, and we go to the half, but good God, man. Brad Stuver, and also great ball by Gozo, and you see just the lack of size there for John Gallagher when you're having to mark somebody like Gilavogi.
Yeah, man, and it's just been, the Johnny, as he's been switched back to that position more naturally, it's just tough for him with the size of these other dudes now. Like, they're just bigger now, so it's tough for him. Thank you, Bradley Scott Stuver. What a save. Incredible that he kept this one out.
So coming out of the half, no changes for either team, but in the 46th minute, kind of right off the rip, Austin secured possession on the first RSL turnover of the second frame and begins building out of the back. They go up that right side to John Gallagher, and Gally kind of slips down. I think maybe slipped on the ball, and right, they run the sprinklers at halftime, so a little slick out there. Ilie swoops in to save him and the possession, and he ushers the ball onto Joseph Rosales, who drives centrally and threads a pass right to the foot of Mirtu Azuni, who's on the run in between the two RSL center backs. And Mirtu lets this ball bounce off of his heel, and the play is over. And I did want to note at this point, you see Jaden Nelson, they're undoing his hamstring wrap. And right after he did that, dude began to look very uncomfortable moving around out there. But going back to the Rosales pass to Mirtu, again, it's just another data point of Mirtu not being good enough, man.
Yep.
Certainly for the price that was paid, the DP roster slot. And again, it's not like the guy's not trying. We know that. You see the effort in all of those moments of the game that he can control, but he can also control his touch here. That pass is right where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
On the run, and it's a good run by him. He had a couple other chances in this game where I thought he made the wrong run. That we didn't necessarily highlight, but good God, man. And this is, I was putting that on the fan base for everybody throwing their hands up the first time Mirtu fucks up. Now I'm there too, officially, game 3.5. We're coming out of halftime, dude. You cannot have that misplay of the ball right there. You just can't.
Nope. After watching Wilfred Zaha just catch balls, out of anywhere, that's a level of DP that a skill level that you're going to need to have, man. And this is just, it's frustrating. He's frustrated. I don't think he's having fun anymore. I don't know if he has had fun up until this point, to be honest with you. And it's just another thing that I talked about where it just looks weird or wrong or off. And for also the optics of this, for this to look that bad where it bounces off his heel and now we're completely out of fucking possession after you generate this nice potential chance here. Absolutely sucks, man. And we talked about, I think maybe the first or second game, him only having, I think maybe like 18 or 10 or 20, 11 touches, some very kind of small number. But he has no hold up game. He cannot track back to the ball and keep it because he's not fucking 5'10. Okay.
He's never winning a header either.
Nope, he's not winning the balls in the air. That was a huge part of our game last year with BV, was launching those balls out of there, letting him get it and hold dudes off. He does not have that aspect to his game. And if you don't have that aspect to your game, You have to be deft at your runs, at your timing, at that kind of stuff. And he just hasn't proven to be able to do that consistently at this level. And, he's got the one goal bounced off him this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I talked about trying to get him a good start to get him in a good place, but it does not look good. I kind of hinted at it, I think, after the Charlotte game or maybe the DC game with just his body language, man. And it just,
look, and I am not taking anything away. I know some people have poked a little bit of fun at the goal, like, where, what did he hit that ball with, but like being in the right place at the right time is a skill that a player like him needs to have, but that cannot be the only thing. Right. And so like you talk about the timing of the runs, the positioning of the runs, the timing was way off on the set piece we talked about in the first half. And the timing is good here, but then the skill is what lets you down. And again, it's for us to defend you as a player, dude, like you have to give us something.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And I know he's frustrated too, because again, we knew that this was going to be a frustrating game because of the Duber and Ilya limitations in regard to getting that ball up there. But Rosales serves this one up fucking perfect, man. And like,
you're going to have just a handful of chances in a match like this with who's unavailable, being on the road in the elevation. So you have to take those chances. And a guy like John Bell last night did, and a guy like Mirtu Azuni did not.
Yeah, we really miss BV, man. And it just, again, you could kind of mitigate the limitations of Ilya and Duber if you had a strong hold-up game from your 9, coming back, tracking back to the ball where it's like, Duber, I don't need you to beat somebody one-on-one and then give us a nice progressive ball. You can dump it to me here. I can let these players get wide around me and we can move forward that way. But he just doesn't have that in his it's not there.
Yeah.
So it's really, really frustrating, man. And I'll just jump to Jaden so we're not just piling on Mirtu at this point. But like, I thought he needed a sub about 5 minutes before he takes this thing off. He looked tired.
So at halftime, because dude, that was 2 minutes into the half. Let's get to the next note, because I think this is what you're thinking about. It was 51st minute. Xavier Gozo going down that right side. He gets in a one-on-one against Jaden, gets Nelson off balance, and Jaden has to pull him down before he gets into that 18. So yellow card is shown, deserved. I don't hate that foul at all. No. But in my notes here, Nelson looks like he needs to come out for sure, and I know this is where you were saying it as well.
I still think I said it a little earlier, but
okay.
Good foul here. He's gassed. Gozo, man, just giving us fucking fits, dude. Yeah. And like you talked about with the structure and everything, they're so wide. Yeah. They have Gilavogi so wide and Gozo so wide, and Gozo's just firing up that right side, man. And like you're asking John Bell, who again played a really good game, definitely not the speed component that like a Guilherme has or a Rosales has, where you can get out to Gozo, recover, feel okay about that if you find yourself in that position. But they were consistently stretching this defense and generating a lot of good looks, and they had some pretty nice one-on-one play. Hezer Khani as well. We haven't talked about him. He jukes a couple guys and gets good looks. So like, it was better team won. They were better.
I will say, dude, John Bell, and we'll talk about him right here, but I don't know if he's pretty fucking fast, at least going forward down that left side last night, dude. Like I think he can play some left back out there. Again, I don't think in our ideal situation, I don't think he's out there, but
I'm not trying to suggest that he can't. I'm just saying in this particular matchup, Gozo, a really nice level of speed, and just the way that this team plays right now with those guys being so wide and stretching the defense out.
So it's 57th minute where John Bell, another solid poke on Salons here to jar the ball loose inside the Austin 18. And Austin's trying to play out of the back here. Salt Lake puts a counter press on, and that combined with, I think, Austin's lack of providing any sort of outlet to go forward in this moment causes Jaden Nelson to end up sending a ball. Like, I see what he's trying to do. And if this ball gets there, you have acres of space for Johnny to run forward. But the pass is too short. Gilavogi's able to just chest it down to himself at the top of the 18. He drops it to Sanabria, who lofts it back into the mix, where it deflects to Salons. He chests it down to himself, rips a shot from literally 7 yards out. Brad two-hand saves it back into the field of play. It one-hops back to Salons, who cracks it back on target with his left. Stuver goes down to his left to keep it out again before John Bell clears it out. And the Salt Lake follow-up gets scuffed out for a goal kick. But Good God, Brad Stuver, man. I mean, what would you do without this fucking guy? Lose 4-1, I guess. Yeah.
Be terrible. I mean, we're screaming, get this ball out of here, please.
Yeah. The whole time they're fucking around with it back
and
there.
It's just like, and RSL's progressively moving forward and progressively getting this field tilt a little even more skewed in their favor and everything. And like, you just got to get this ball out. And like, Jaden kicks this with his, I'm pretty sure his right hammy, right? That's the one that's bothering him, was his left.
No, I think you're right. I think it was right foot. Yeah.
So he's got something's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, there's not enough juice on this. I understand what he's doing as well, but like, God, you're in a 1-1 game here. Like this,
it should not have been on him to clear that out.
No, because
4 other dudes touched the ball before that,
and nobody's tracking back, man.
Yeah.
You're just missing that component. So a very, very dangerous moment here. Thank God for Brad Stuver.
2 minutes later in the 59th, Jorge Alistue makes his first team debut. He comes in for Jaden Nelson, right? So that puts Jorge like more central, although we know those guys up front can interchange in and out, but shifts Facu out to the right, Jorge in the middle, and Rosales to the left. And dude, at least without the ball, this is a 5-back look defensively, which like I'm not against, but like we'll talk about what some of the things coach said after the match was just like, we have eyes, man. Like talking about not going more defensive and playing for the draw here. Like you didn't go more offensive, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Obviously I've been a fan of Jorge's since I've watched him last season with the Next Pro team, and super excited about him getting his opportunity here. I think it's supposed to be CJ though. Right? Like, is it not supposed to be CJ for Nelson here? Like,
you put 2 guys up front, and I mean, what's the adjustment there then?
I just felt like CJ in that. I mean, maybe you save CJ for later. I don't know. I was excited for Jorge. I'm still trying to figure out this midfield because you can't even fucking play Savovich.
Yeah.
So and then you got Duber and Ilya there. So I was kind of thinking CJ here, but whatever.
Yeah. It was 62nd minutes, the first chance for Austin to possess the ball after that sub. And we get a little bit lucky here on the ball over the top from Gowie to Jorge. It gets cut out by an RSL defender, but like kind of then squirts away. They're not able to control it. So Jorge's able to get back on that ball and turn, progress it to Facu Torres, who drives into the acres of space in front of him. And I love to see that as a team where like sometimes we don't fucking do that and just like take the 15 yards that's in front of you and let guys run with you.
Mm-hmm.
So he does that. He ushers it out to Rosales before entering the penalty area. So Rosales coming in from that left side now. And he stops on a dime, Rosales that is, and ditches Gozo before ripping a right-footed shot that unfortunately pings off that far post and back into the field of play where it drops right to Jorge. And he hesitates at first before taking a shot from 12 yards out that's blocked by Justin Glad. That rebound comes to Ilya, who takes a shot, and he sends it into the stands. But good guy, Joseph Rosales. Again,
my God.
This man needs to be on the left. We have to figure something out. I have now come over to the side. Like I've been saying, like if the coaches think that him being on the right is the best way to put our best 11 players out there with who's available, I'm with it. And we may see that again next week.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no doubt in the now, 75-ish minutes we have of Rosales being on the left side of the field. This man is sick over there, dude.
Crazy. He's so good.
And Jorge, just like, I don't blame the kid at all for freezing up for a half second there and not ripping the shot immediately. But next time, I'm looking for him to do so because I don't think this is the last time we see him with the first team this year.
You get away with it at Next Pro.
Yeah, for sure.
He would have scored that at the Next Pro level. The game moves a little. It's much faster here in the MLS level. Rosales, man, he's been our best player thus far. If not,
I got no argument.
He's on the very short list of guys who have been fantastic this season on both sides of the ball, man. And for him to be able to get this shot up with his right foot was incredible. Jorge, like you said, flinches a little bit here. I can't be too upset at him for sure in your first start here or first game here. And you definitely could have become a bit of a legend, but
yeah, right.
Also would have been hard to stop, get this one past Cabral, but
for sure.
This is a good thing to see here. I like what we talked about with Facu taking up that space and eating it, but you got a lot of tired legs out there, man. There's just a lot of guys huffing and puffing and unable to get up the field. And like, this is your shot here in the second half to really fucking
that was it.
Game. And that was about it, you know.
When you can see it, right? If you're, your soccer app of choice, you look at the momentum chart, like this is the biggest moment for Austin in the second half. And it's not super close, right? And again, even this chance is not super high probability either.
Nope.
But it is what we had. So 66th minute here, Austin in possession in their own half. And the ball finds Joseph Rosales hugging the sideline. And man, dude, the move he puts on Gozo here.
Oh my God.
Boy. And then plays a great ball in behind for Izuni. At least from the broadcast angle, from what we can see, man, Mirtu is just not fast enough.
He's not fast
to reach this one. And I think it's more about that than the ball being too far out in front. I think, just from my angle. And I know Coach kind of, is talking about Mirtu's speed in the post game, but shit, man, he is not fast enough to reach that one. At least, just over an hour in playing in the elevation. And like, maybe I'm being unfair to Mirtu in this moment because everything is just continuing to build month over month, right? Since the double PK misses to end last season. But like, somebody tell me, like, if you're going to defend him, somebody tell me what's wrong with this. Like, this pass is on the fucking money, dude.
Yep.
Right behind Glad and into the space where if you're fast enough, you're running onto the ball.
Yep. You're beating him. Yep.
But you don't have to force anything there. 70th minute, Dubersarski goes down after clearing a ball out of the Austin penalty area following a corner. A little gamesmanship there, right? Because the sub arrived at midfield for him just moments before. We see Sabo in for Duber, and then Djordjevic comes in for Bell, which moves Matea to kind of right center back, right? Svatak's now in the middle. Heinzike is now your left center back with Rosales out there as the wing back. And then the minute following those subs, Luna and Olatunji come on for Herzakani and Salans, and fucking great, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's part of the reason why I didn't want to get so complacent and passive after the first goal. And because those dudes were waiting and they both make a huge impact as soon as they get in this game.
73rd minute off a Stuver goal kick. Cheeky little set play here by Austin, I thought. Like, and again, not the first time I've said this tonight or on the season, certainly. So credit to Nico Bosch here. Like, it doesn't come off, but I also don't think this is, from what I saw, really picked up by many. But I enjoyed seeing it live and then on the replay this morning. Brad boots it long and low from right to left, out to Rosales just over midfield. And he's got enough space, receives this pass with not much pressure. And as that pass is in the air, Sabovic is streaking diagonally from right to left down towards that left sideline. Rosales plays him, and then he takes off on like an underlapping run around Sabo. So Sabo controls the ball, one, maybe two touches on that sideline before launching it further down that sideline into the path of Joseph Rosales. And so unfortunately in this moment, Gozo gets the better of Rosales for the only time, I think, this match when those two saw each other. So RSL gets the ball back. But man, I thought that set play was sharp because if Gozo does not win that ball off Rosales, there is a chance to cross it in. And that is a chance created on the training ground. And that is, again, like what I like to see. I know, like, we need to see more threat, which I think will come. Certainly not guaranteed, but I think will come when we are more healthy, more of a threat offensively from open play.
Yep.
But I just like with wins, winning ugly, winning pretty. I don't care how the goals come.
Yeah.
Goals in the bet, they all count for one.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
So like if goals from set pieces are just as good to me. So that was just a moment that I noticed watching live, and again on the replay this morning, I thought was some, again, it's encouraging to see that type of success from the set pieces. Because I think also, I know it's Stuver initiating this one here, but Facundo Torres is pretty damn accurate with these. And like, I was going to save this stat for later, but since I'm bringing up Facu, dude, where do you think he ranks in chances created in the league this season?
Top 25?
Second.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And look, there's 3 games still to be played here this week.
What?
But yeah, he's a check Fop Mob, dude. I think it's 13 to Paxton Aronson's 14. And again, like a lot of I think the majority of those chances are coming from set pieces. But again, I could give a shit
Yeah,
We need
absolutely.
chance creation, whether the ball is dead or not.
Holy
And
shit! Yeah,
yeah, dude,
wow,
like
13. Good lord.
yeah, man. So like again, like and
And
again, you're
I thought
not
he
getting.
played well. I thought
Yeah,
he
he's
played well.
fine.
It was
I
fine.
don't. I have not been that impressed with Facu in open play yet. But
Yeah,
again, I think if you put Vasquez out there and you put Wolf out there with him,
yeah,
and Danny is healthy,
yeah.
and Dessler's over there on Facu's preferred right side, I think it's going to look better. You got to hope it's going to look better.
Yeah, absolutely. He was fine for sure. Again, the limitations of the other players out there on the field and our inability to get him the rock consistently
Yeah.
hurt us.
Yeah.
Oh man, just a frustrating game, dude. And like we're gonna get into more Nico stuff, but I thought this was a stinker from him. I thought it was a stinker from Nico
No,
last night.
I'm with you. So a few more notes to finish this one up. It was a yellow card to Brad Stuver for time wasting in the 76th. I want to see that called more around the league, so I have zero problem with that.
Fine with that.
81st minute, Spearings comes in for Dylan, and in the 84th, Joseph Rosales picks up a rebound off a Gozo shot that was blocked by Hindsight. And Gozo chases Rosales to that corner near side to the broadcast camera, where Joseph holds him off with the body, dude, for a good 8 seconds here, I think. And then finally, like, Gila Vogie comes over to double team, and Rosales just whips around to his right, dribbles out of it, and then gets around Philip Quinton as well into open space before Quinton pulls him down from behind to draw the foul. And again, this is just another moment on the night and on this young season, especially on the fucking left, where Joseph Rosales is just, he is a standout right now.
Yes.
And for all the right reasons.
Absolutely. He, like I said it before, he's probably been our best player thus far, man. Holding this dude off, man, looking around, like trying to see where stuff's coming from. Dude, just like you're not getting this ball. He's just continuously
little boy,
this
guy, dude.
Then you just fucking. I think does he play it around Gila Vogie or was that Quinton?
So no, he plays it around Quinton. Gila Vogie comes from the end line side, almost the baseline there, and he just turns right and gets out of it. Like it was not a very intense challenge there from Gila Vogie, but then to get around Quinton, because Quinton's kind of caught in between Chase and Joe and staying with Facu, who's there on the sideline. So again, it's an awesome piece of individual play, which again, I'm looking forward to seeing more of that, hopefully on the left sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. And Guilherme hasn't done himself that many favors this season. And with the way John Bell looked too, and you got Komanich in the wings as well. It's like, brother, you better tighten up here. And I think he got jobbed versus Charlotte, but it wouldn't be nearly as bad if you weren't suspended by the goddamn team for the first game, because you can't
2 weeks before that.
You can't keep your fucking cool in a preseason matchup, dude.
Yeah.
You don't lose your job, bro. Like,
88th minute here. It's Brad Stuver booting it long and out of bounds near the bench areas after being pressured at the back. So Salt Lake throws it in, kind of work it around the back for a moment before Justin Glad takes a touch forward and then splits Ilya and Sabovich with a pass right to the foot of Spearings, who's on the run. And dude, he doesn't take a touch. He does not look at the goal. Just one times it from 25 yards out. It one hops towards Stuver's right and nestles inside the post for the late lead. I'm not sure what Brad is supposed to do there, because I don't think anybody, even his teammates, Spearings that is, expected this shot. I think only he knew that this was coming. And that is just, we say it frequently. Sometimes you got to credit the offense in these moments. And this is exhibit A of that, dude, because this is a fantastic shot. I'm not sure, outside of like being tighter in the midfield and not allowing this pass to get through from Glad to Spearings, that is a fun, but like once the ball gets to Spearings, how many guys are scoring that?
Yeah.
Not many. And like a lot of them, even maybe Spearings, because I believe that was actually his debut last night. Like even on that might be his best goal in his career. I'm not sure, dude. That was a .02 XG coming off his foot, right? So like 2% chance to go in. It's well struck. It's well placed. I don't have many complaints about Austin in that moment.
Yeah, outside of the fact that you're just slow in the midfield.
Sure.
Ilya's putting a shift, but Savovich ain't fast. You know what I mean? This ball is so it's just like you're slow there, but this is a hell of a strike. This is This is a shot that has a ton of pace to it. He uncorks it. It's fucking got the bottom falling out of it. And the only way Brad couldn't anticipate it was coming because, as you mentioned, he's not even looking towards the goal. And this is a great goal. And it was the goal that decided this game, that they were able to finish in a game that they deserved to win. They were the better team. They deserved to win. This is a great goal. And it just sucks because Brad obviously was all over last night, and you had the chance to win this game in a couple moments. If you could have been better with the finishing in the final third. And then this happens and you're walking out of there with nothing, man.
Yeah. So after the goal, 89th minute, Christian Ramirez comes in for Heinzeich. So again, this plays into the fact to me that yes, we were playing more defensive. And I keep referencing this Nico comment that we'll get to in a moment. Yeah. But apparently the sub also, I was a little confused on the broadcast because I don't think we ever got a graphic for the sub and didn't see it happen as they were showing the replays of the goal, etc. Mm-hmm. But I also know that we left a sub in Salt Lake last night.
Yep.
And if we're at this point, dude, 89th minute, down a goal, why do we not throw CJ on here for Ilie? Because who gives a fuck at that point? Who gives a shit, dude? You can lose 6-1. It counts the same as losing 2-1.
Yeah.
So I do not understand. Even if it's not CJ, who I think it should be just because of his qualities and us needing a goal. But what about Irvin?
Yep.
And Dessler, I was screaming for Dessler in the 80th minute because I'm sorry, Dedler. Is he Benchler now?
What? Benchler.
Because we saw him.
Yeah.
We saw him on the sideline warming up.
Yep.
But goddamn it, I don't understand why we didn't use the other sub. Because when you don't use that sub, to me, you're not going for it at the end. At least as much as you could be, and I feel like you should do that.
I mean, it's even just more baffling because we know how difficult it is to play in the altitude up there. You got guys all over the field who are fucking huffing and puffing, hands on knees, man, tired, dead legs. Why are you not throwing this forward here?
Yeah.
This was a baffling decision. As I said before, this was a real stinker from Nico and his staff, who I've been fine with up until this point in the season. And I'm not, going nuts here about this, but you got out coached. I think we like I said, we got outplayed here. I don't understand how you could possibly not bring all your subs in this situation. And again, exactly. CJ for anyone, literally anybody,
literally anyone. Yeah,
literally anyone. Bring him in for anybody. Let's do it. And
put him in for Mir too.
And I mean, exactly. And then fucking hell, the way this game ends, right? You got a bunch of tired dudes trying to progress the ball up the field, and nobody's moving. Nobody. I mean, it even came up to the announcers are talking about it in this game. Why isn't Austin more pushed up here? Why aren't they being a bit more aggressive? And it wasn't even after this. They were chatting about it a little bit before this goal even happens.
Yeah,
because to in some of Mirtu's defense, right? There was no you have a couple opportunities. The one long ball which he should have got to, but he's just fucking slow. The other one where it hits his back heel and it's just okay, you're not that good. There was not a ton of support to get him the ball, as I mentioned, with his inability to get hold up play. He was just chasing three dudes around up there. It was just three defensive guys for RSL, and Mirtu just like a little kid, and you're just fucking throwing the ball back and forth, and he's just running around after it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the notes to close this one out in stoppage, dude. 3rd minute of stoppage, yellow to Ilie, late foul on Gilavogi. Ilie knew he deserved it. Absolutely deserved in that moment. And then at the end of stoppage, like you mentioned, first of all, the ball goes out over the end line off of Svatok for an RSL corner, and they call a goal kick. And
should have called a foul.
Dude, outside of this very obviously wrong call, it was nice to have, I thought, a crew that was very consistent last night. I don't even know the name of the head official.
Yeah.
I thought it was a well officiated game.
Agreed.
And outside of this, right, which is just that's more on the fucking linesman who is right there, dude.
Literally right there.
That was horrible. But so Austin gets the ball back now as stoppage time winds down. And I saw some fans, I think, frustrated with the official blowing the game dead as Austin was making their way into the RSL half. But I'm with you, dude.
Making our way.
We are making my way downtown Salt Lake's half.
Passing to
Time
no
doesn't
one.
matter. I'm sorry for that. But goddamn, dude, there's not even a crumb of urgency in this moment.
Nope.
Dude, this is we go through the gamut of fucking sports analogies here. This is running the ball under 2 minutes down a touchdown.
Yeah.
This is like shooting a 2 down 3 with 5 seconds to go.
Yeah.
This is like bunting with 2 outs.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't.
This
We're
is like
screaming.
being down 1 on the ice and not pulling your fucking goalie and getting an extra man up there for a power play. Like, what are we doing? Put the numbers for the one time, like you said, we launched the ball forward to Ramirez, who's in between 2, maybe 3 guys.
Yep.
We should have at least 4 guys up there in the box because who cares at this point?
Yep.
The only thing that gets you a result is a fucking goal.
And that's another reason
and it's not like there's 20 minutes left. We're in stoppage time.
Another reason why CJ should have been in. You got to just launch some balls to him here. I don't know. We're sitting there watching this, and like you get your first pass. I think it went to Johnny or I can't, maybe Georgievich. Yeah. And then like okay, all right, you got it. You got one shot here. We're gonna get one possession here. Let's go ahead. Let's do this. First pass goes like lateral. It's like okay. Yeah, it goes back to him. I was like, oh, all right, boys. Let's move up the
we
field
got
here.
6 seconds now.
Somebody check back to the ball a little bit. Let's see if we can get something going here. And then you're just fucking lackadaisical walking this thing up the fucking field. I can't be mad at the ref at all for blowing it. Can't.
He should have. We would have been furious on the other side if he didn't.
Absolutely. And like just a very baffling ending to this. But, a deserved loss in my book. You deserve to lose this game. RSL deserved to win it. And you're just beat up. You're beat up bad, but you got to find ways. And we are not able to find those ways right now in these matchups. And I still think you got robbed versus Charlotte, but that's in the past at this point. And like, you got to be able to fucking bounce back and impact winning in certain ways. And Mirtu and guys like that, you just don't have your fingerprints on the game. You don't.
40% possession for Austin at the end of this one. It was 23 shots to 10 in favor of RSL. 8 shots on target to 3, of course, in favor of the home team. 7 corner kicks to 4 in favor of Salt Lake. 0 big chances created for Austin, which is a little surprise. I felt like we had at least one big chance.
It definitely
throughout that passage of play at the end of the first half. Like, I know it didn't register here, but that was a little misleading to me.
That caught my eye.
But also illustrates that, like, we were not very threatening throughout the 90 minutes. We just had those few moments. So you look at the XG model on FOTMob, 0.58 for Austin to 1.72 for Salt Lake, 0.81 expected goals on target for Austin, 2.73 for RSL. So keep in mind here, as I read out those expected goal totals, that there is no XG given for own goals. So the stats match the eye test that was a phenomenal Brad Stuver game, 2.73 expected goals on target, just 1 goal allowed there. I saw just one single fan complaining about Brad Stuver last night, which I think is heinous. Just one is random. It's random, on the timeline. Yep. So it's not, not an argument we have to take up here, but I just thought that was ridiculous. Right. Our newish post-game activity here, the game score from our Patreon members in our Discord. It's an average of the numeric emoji reactions when we tag the channel, between when we tag the channel and when we record the episode, from 1 being the worst to 5 being the best. How did they feel about that match? The game score here, 2.38. So slightly higher reaction there from our members compared to the Charlotte match, but nestling decidedly behind the DC victory.
Yeah. I think I put this one as my lowest of the season so far.
Okay.
This game from the scoreboard appears closer than it was. Okay. RSL, as you're going to be able to see here, really controlled almost everything about this matchup here. And like you said, the 2.73 on target, testament to Brad and his ability to keep us in a fucking game here. 41 accurate long balls for them last night to our 14. You know what I mean? And then we're going to get into this Nico quote, and you can't, like you said, we have eyes and we can watch this and everything. Where's the offensive creativity here? And I know that a big part of it is that there's just not, you just don't have the horses right now. I get that. But trying to sustain a defensive approach for the last 70 minutes of this game versus a talented RSL team like this. Really put us on the back heels here, and you find yourself in a tight spot right now with what's coming up and what just took place these last 2 games here. Jesus.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, and you see, dude, like field tilt 82-18 here.
Just dominated.
Again, just, it's one data point here, but like talking about what Coach said after the game, some of his comments, he said, talking about Svatak's own goals, that it's unlucky. He's trying to clear the ball, and also gave him a ton of praise for the rest of his game. And I very much agree with that. I thought Alexander played great outside of the one mishap at the back.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also said, as we've kind of alluded to, we quote, never played for the draw. And I don't think I agree with that one, Coach. Like, dude, let's go back here to the FOTMob stats.
Just hard to say you agree with that when you're looking at these stats and figures right now.
Well, and we watched the game. The
yeah.
stats match up with the eye test.
Yes.
Because first half, 44% possession, 6 of our shots, and all 3 on target, and all 4 of our corners. So you go to the second half, which like Jaden was hurting a little bit. We bring in Jorge and we move Rosales back to a 5-back, which is more defensive. And it goes 64% possession RSL to 36 for Austin. We get 4 shots off in the second half, none on target, no corner kicks, no threat. Outside of the one passage of play in the 62nd, right after the Jorge sub, where Rosales comes down the left, shot off the post, and we get a couple chances after that. But I don't know, man. I'm not super against going defensive on the road when we are so beat up and we're in the elevation. But you don't have to lie to us that that's what you did. You don't have to. And if it's not probably best shot in Spearing's career, 2 minutes before stoppage time, you're moments away from saying, good job seeing out a point there, right? Because once you get to the end of this game where we don't have the horses coming off the bench that we should if we were at full health, certainly compared to what they brought off with Luna and Olatunji and everybody else. I just, you're moments away from us being like, good job. And yes, you should have gone back. Like, there's always that if there's a late goal. Or if there's not, there's always, they did great decision or terrible decision. I would have never done that. Like, that's, come on, man. We can sit here and play Sunday afternoon fucking manager, but I'm not going to do that. What I take exception to is him saying that we weren't going out there more defensive and for the tie. Because look, man, it felt like that watching it, and it shows in the stats.
Yep. It does. And, again, you're so far behind the 8 ball with the injuries that have mounted up here. It's just tough to stay afloat right now. You got dominated here in this matchup, man. I just bombed, super, super bombed. And, again, we knew that there was going to be limited opportunities here to try to find a way to get the 3 or the 1. I still think you had enough out there talent-wise to win this game in a difficult environment versus a team that I have respect for. And I have more respect for them after watching them play last night. And I think they're going to be a formidable opponent in the West once they're fully healthy, depending on potential transfers and what have you. But your best players got to show up in these moments, and it's just not something we've been able to rely on with Mirtu. It's just you haven't been able to be like, you know what, we got that dude out there. That dude's a killer. I feel pretty good about this. It just never instills that confidence. The confidence that he came in with has all but evaporated.
Bro, I'm driving home last night and thinking about the fucking graphic that said, I'm here to break records, period. Mirtu Azuni.
Yeah.
And how all of us were so fucking hyped about that attitude, right?
Yeah.
And just not you're breaking all the wrong records right now, man. And I don't know that for a fact, but god damn, dude. One thing too that both Coach and John Bell mentioned, and it made me not just think back to the game and noticing one time in the corner. God damn, that corner flag's fucking whipping around in the wind. Yeah. Apparently we were against the wind in the second half. That's what Coach said caused Brad Stuver's goal kicks to 2 of them went straight out of bounds. A couple of them, coming up very short from where you would think he is targeting. So I do think that played a factor. At the same time, RSL was against the wind in the first half. That is not an excuse. But it was a factor, and I thought one that they brought up that I didn't necessarily think about so concretely until they did. So I do want to step into Professor Okwa's classroom here for a moment, because again, some of our listeners may look at this stuff and be like, yeah, duh. But I thought this was an interesting conversation that he and I had here this morning. So he's talking about the structural mishaps that he saw with the way Austin lined up last night. So on this graphic for the YouTube viewers, we are in red, RSL in blue. This is how we lined up defensively, right? Gives us a +1 at the back, 4 against 3. And even up top, 3-on-3, with RSL attacking in a 3-4-3. But it gives us a -1 in the midfield with our 3 midfielders there, right? We had Ilie in the middle. We were dropping Rosales back on that right side, which pushed Dubersarski out to defend the wide areas on the Gozo side of things.
Yeah.
So Logan said it forces RSL's backline to break our initial press, but if they're successful, we're screwed in the midfield, which we saw over and over again last night because the lines between our forwards press and the rest of the team was so large. Making Duber have to defend in wide areas, forcing our fullbacks, Galley in particular, to have to decide if he's going to stay with his forward, right, blue number 2 on the graphic, or skip a line and press that wide midfielder out there, number 6 on the graphic, is certainly a decision, right? He says normally teams make it so they're even in the midfield, and that -1 would be against their back line. We did the opposite for some reason all night. And what I said back to Logan in his explanation there was, yeah, dude, and don't we, Nico plays 4-4-2 defensively all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, he does. And so, like, that's where I am confused as to why we came in with that. Like, while we were watching it, right, we noticed that it was 4-3-3 defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the hypothesis I had there was, like, clog up the midfield because we are weak in the midfield right now, both with our ball progression and I probably with our ball winning. Right? Like Danny and Owen are not like, they're not the forces in this league in that aspect, but they do help with that. Right. And like thinking about it more, dude, especially talking to Logan, I just, to not adjust after we saw how badly they were tearing us up with that. Cause it's not like that was not giving us an advantage in the midfield. Once they broke that first line, dude, how many times are they just flying up those wings?
Yep.
Duber's out there, Bell's out there on the other side. It's Johnny and it's Rosales. Even then, dude, like, I don't know. You see it on the momentum chart. It's all RSL. So like all the RSL. Fact that there was no defensive adjustment until we went to the back 5, subbing out Jaden and putting Jorge in, and then coach says we're not playing for the tie. It just all like none of it made sense to me. This morning after the rewatch and, looking in the various channels, obviously talking to Logan. So I thought that was good insight by him. Again, as simple as it may be, for guys like you and I to try to understand this more. And yeah, I'm with you. Cause like, I didn't feel good about the coaching performance last night when the final whistle blew, and I definitely don't now.
Yeah, for sure. And like, it wasn't hard to decipher and determine how spaced out they had us in that midfield and the gap between the midfield presence and the guys who were up there. That's why I said it was just like Birtu was just chasing a ball around up front, running around 1 versus 3 at times, just looking lost. And then you have a huge gap in between those 2 lines. And like, that's one of the things that they've been shown to be good at this season, was getting Gozo into space like that, getting Guy Lavogi into space like that. So that is a bit confusing to me. Hopefully something to take away from it. Maybe I'm just being a little bit delusional here. Obviously, like you said, 10% of the way through the season, long season ahead of us. But it's hard to gauge what this team really is until I see Owen out there, until I see BV out there.
Yeah. And Benchler. Like, I mean,
I've also just basically forgotten about him at this point.
Sure. Well, dude, now Rosales may be my answer for like who's our best defender, because I know it's a small sample size, but goddamn. And but like to have him and Dessler out there as our fullbacks like that. And again, let's let that take us into our final listener question of today's episode, which comes from our buddy Tex Rex. He has a couple bullet points here in this question.
Okay.
Number 1, how do we survive until we're back at full strength? And I think my answer to that is 1 game at a time and probably in the bottom half of the table.
Yep. You'll be alive, but you won't be liking where you're sitting. Yes. That's for sure. Surviving Surviving versus thriving is a whole different level of
Yes.
experience there, brother.
Yes. Second question. What does our best lineup look like when we're back at full strength? So I've got a graphic for that, E. So here's what I have. If assuming full health for everybody on this first team roster right now, and assuming Nico's going to continue to run out kind of this, 4-2-3-1 look, this is what I would have. Stuver in net, backline left to right. Rosales, Heinzike, Svatok, Dessler. Ilya in front of him because I want it to be Duber, but I don't have more confidence in Duber or Sabo than Ilya right now. So Ilya with Danny in front of him, that front line, Nelson on the left, Owen in the middle, Facu on the right with BV up top, which puts Guilherme Biru on the bench, which puts Mirtu Izuni on the bench, and that, especially for the latter of those two names, that's a problem with your roster build.
That is a big time problem. Yeah, I don't have any changes here. If we're full health,
okay. I was wondering if you might have one or two, but
I mean,
so you Guilherme on the bench for you.
You know how much everyone knows how much I love Guilherme. He's not as good as Joseph Rosales. Period. Like Rosales is just better. Like I'm not gonna fucking just deny that. So no, I don't have any changes here, man.
And like we're not.
And I'm excited.
I'm not benching Jaden Nelson for Mirtu Izuni right now.
I am not taking Jaden Nelson off the field to run some weird experiment with Mirtu in the left pseudo wing, slot in as a double striker at points in time, but just look out of place and we can't even get you the fucking ball. Yeah. I'm not sacrificing Jaden Nelson for that. I'm just not. And yes, that's a problem. It's a problem. But this would be the choice 11 for me as well.
And the last bullet point here was, do we shop Izuni in the summer and just get what we can for him? And yes is my answer. And I would even go as far to say, as just given the way things have played out, I'm not so sure we shouldn't have done that right before the season.
Yeah, we don't know the figure on that for sure. And like I was obviously in the camp of I don't want to take a huge loss on him. But at this point, you're just taking losses on the field with the dude. And it sucks to try to, admit and say that, it's another potential failed DP project. And, we talked about, is he going to, we're speculating, like, is he going to, like, is it a good thing that if he gets hot here and he scores, 4 or 5 times in the next X amount of weeks or anything? And it just, I don't see how that's going. I don't see what we're going to generate for that to happen for him. Yeah. I just really don't. He hasn't displayed anything where it's like you can track back to the ball and uncork something from outside of the 18 where it's like, oh, you're just a special talent. We don't really have to do a whole lot to get you this. He's not good in the air. It's proven to be slower than most of the players who are playing on the defensive line in this league at this point in time. And it just always looked like a clunky fit. And I was definitely giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm shopping him in the summer. Absolutely.
If he scores 5 or 6 goals between now and the World Cup break, dude, all that does for me is drive the price up when we do sell him in the summer.
Yeah, you try to recoup
and
it.
I know that we didn't have Christian Ramirez in at that point. Like there's no indication at that point for the Austin front office that he was even going to be available, right? Yeah. Until they cut him the day the season started. But even being without Mirtu now, you could have gone 2-4 GAM build, right? Just not signed another U22 and taken the $1 million in GAM and fill the DP slot in the summer and go 3-3 then. But that would have saved $1 million in GAM along with opening the DP slot and getting Mirtu out of here. I'm not going to, I don't need to harp on that too much, but I don't think it would have been the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been the worst thing in the world either, man. And we just miss BV and Owen so badly. I want to give Mirtu a bit more of a chance too with Owen and when we're fully healthy, but it's there's no way I can try to put you in over BV. I can't try to start you over BV. It's just not, it'd be crazy to. And like I said at the top, it doesn't look like he's having a great time. Yeah. It doesn't look like he's having fun. We know his work rate. We know his willingness to try to throw himself out there and we'll try to win games, but it just doesn't look like he's having a good time. And we're just teasing the potential of this team and what it could look like once we're healthy, man, or if we're healthy again to say that. But I think you have to shop him in the summer. It would be negligence to not be calling or at least accepting calls about this dude in the summer at this point.
Yeah. And take a loss, man.
Yeah. You can't win them all. You're
No.
not going to win every deal. Just hasn't looked good. And we already thought the fit was weird.
Yeah. Well, appreciate Tex Rex, Ari's, Dave, everybody for the questions, right? Everybody, very lively conversation in the Discord as well, which I need to actually go back and fully read through here when we stop recording. Anything else for you on this game, E?
I just want to reiterate, better team won last night. RSL was the better team. They deserved to win the game. You were outplayed. You were outcoached. I think you were outconditioned as well. They did not obviously having that advantage, but RSL deserved 3 points. They earned 3 points. You got to bounce back, man. You got a tough stretch coming up here. You're going to find out what you're really about.
So, of course, second team plays tonight, so no last business day here. No boy factory yet. Nonsense. All of that stuff coming on Wednesday's preview episode. E, I want to end today's episode with, we'll steal a segment from The Daily Show. And this is going to be your moment of zen here, E, on episode 291. This is from the MLS Ref Stats Blue Sky. Last night, Rosendo Mendoza was the head official for LAFC and St. Louis. Rosendo Mendoza is the first MLS referee in 2026 to issue 0 cards to players, substitutes, or substituted players over the course of an entire match, just as we all predicted. Your thoughts?
Oh, well, that must be nice.
I think his career average is north of 4 cards per game.
I was going to say, bro did the super recorrect, went all the way back to do whatever you want. Wow. If that doesn't signal that you think you fucked up the game prior, I don't know what other tell you could have at that point. That's
and you know what you should have done? Suspended the fucking guy for a week at least. Just discipline these fucks.
Yeah. Just a little accountability, just a little.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here in episode 291 of the North End Podcast. We are back on Wednesday, previewing Austin FC's return to Q2 Stadium to host LAFC. Of course, recapping and previewing some second team matches, Boy Factory, the nonsense, and all of that. Enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We'll do the same. We'll see you back here on Wednesday for another episode. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.